Good morning, Chema. Wonderful to see your faces. All right, so open the text and I will chant the first verse. You have the Sanskrit with the English translation and then the word by word meaning. We are going to begin with the Sahana Vavatu mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu. Is my chanting getting cutting off? Any feedback? Good? Okay, let's chant then. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Chant along. Sahanao Bhunaktu. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vitvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Jai Guru, Jai Saraswati, Jai Lord Ganesh, Jai Ishvara. May the blessings fall upon us as we begin our exploration of the 6 verses of Nirvana Shatakam. Our obeisance to Sri Guru Shankara for providing us with this beautiful knowledge, to Shanti Prakash Acharya, to Ayodhya Nath Acharya, for transmitting this wisdom to your teacher, Shunyacharya, to my teacher, Ayodhya Nath Acharya. You bow, I bow, Jema. Okay. So let me chant. Om Manobuddhahankar Chittaninahu Na chakshotra jivhe Na chagrana netre Na chavyoma bhume Na tejo nava Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So what I thought was that we can go through the entire 6 verses and then I will teach you how to chant it. So you know the meaning of each word. So in this verse, which is the response of Shankara before he became an Acharya, Shankara, the boy, to the great figure, his guru, asking him casually, "Who are you?" But because Shankara was not an ordinary person, but a born mystic, a born self-realized being, or perhaps very close to it, This was his response, and it's a profound response, and it impinges upon the rest of us who go back to this response to say, perhaps this is a universal response. And perhaps this response makes us look at the profound question of who am I? So in the first line, he says he practices negation and says, I am not my mind. Manaha, which in the language syntax, the words in Sanskrit, they change based on what is succeeding, what letter is succeeding the letter. As a result, manaha becomes mano. So mano here represents the mind. So first of all, whenever someone asks us who are we respond based on what's happening in our mind. I am sad, I am unhappy, I'm a loser, I am a worthy person. It determines our response even. Who are you? And you smile and say, well, yeah, I'm one of you, because you feel involved, or you just say, well, I was just passing by, because you don't feel involved. So first of all, he negates the mind and says, mana or mano. Buddha here means buddhi, and buddhi is then the intellect. And the difference between the mind and the intellect is that though in Western philosophy and science, we only have one word for the internal processes, in the Upanishads, in the Vedic perspective, this mental function gets broken up into four subtle functions of four subtle organs. And those subtle organs include the mind, manaha, M-A-N-A-H-A, manaha, buddhi, B-U-D-D-H-I, buddhi, ahankara, A-H-A-M-K-A-R-A, it's written here, ahamkara. And the fourth word is smriti, S-M-R-I-T-I, or chitta, C-H-I-T-T-A. These four functions represent mind, manaha, which is the moment-to-moment thought waves, moment-to-moment transactions. There is no deeper thinking going on. It's the mind operating at a very superficial level. Just like you may have a laptop or a computer in front of you and it has a surface program running, such as in this case, the Zoom program is running. There are many other programs working in the background to enable this, but you cannot perceive it. What's really happening right now is the interface. And within that interface, there is even another interface. You've forgotten you're on Zoom because you are now listening to the teacher. And so this is what's happening at a very, you can say, frontal level. And that is known as the manaha, or the mind. Okay. Behind the manaha, these thoughts that I am learning or I am listening to my teacher, this is going on, this connection of whatever is happening to you. If you didn't have this sense of me and I and mine, you wouldn't know where this knowledge that you are hearing should go to. Like, are you hearing it, but this knowledge is meant for someone else? You know it's meant for you. So you understand the here, the now, the why, the how, and you are that central figure in all of this. And this sense of I, mine, me, this is connected to me, mine, or I. This is known as the ahamkara, or the sense of I identity, or what is in English known as ego. sometimes the ego is a very negative sense used in Western psychology, as if it's always bad. Here, ahankara is being used in terms of a technical perspective that yes, there is an inner identity which connects all these pieces, and this is known as ahankara. Okay. Thirdly, beyond the frontal processes of the mental functioning and the identity spinning that's going on, there's a constant connection to that sense of I within you. There is also some deeper analysis that has happened, that shall continue to happen. This is where you contemplate, this is where you come upon some ideas, you hold upon them for a longer time than just a few seconds. For example, some of your convictions are of your gender, of your belief, of your role. For example, many of you have this deeper conviction that, oh, I'm a student of the Vedas. And that is why you are here. Because of that, it doesn't need a daily reminder at the level of your mind. It doesn't. You have this ongoing conviction. So there are some knowledge that you've already cultivated, which has converted into ideas and understandings, and that is known as the buddhi or the intellect. When I ask you to do contemplation, I'm asking that you take this knowledge from the top of your mind into the deeper recesses of your mental function, which is this buddhi, or in English, which we translate as intellect. Again, we lose the flavor of the word buddhi because intellect feels dry, intellect feels academic, intellect feels scholarly. If I wanted to translate buddhi, I would call it the wisdom receptacle or the ideational aspect of your mental faculties, where your ideas, your beliefs, your principles remain. And that's where you become the deeper person that you are. Because in any instant, somebody's mind may be irritated, but deep down, their belief may be of non-violence. So their irritation won't go beyond a certain point. Similarly, if somebody's deep down ideational belief is violence is okay, then no matter how polite they are on the surface mind, sooner or later, something disruptive will come through. So the person that we are is determined by all these aspects, but definitely by the intellect or the buddhi. So it's a very important functionality of the mind that the entire Vedic tradition tries to go towards, and we are all very proud of it also. However, in this verse, Shankara is saying, I am not my mind, manaha. I am not my sense of I, so I'm not this story, this person's son, this my father has already passed away, a single mother has raised me. I have walked 2,000 miles to see you, my feet are aching. None of that. He didn't share any of this. He simply said, I am not my mind, whatever those initial thoughts were of, disdain or excitement or quiet, none of that. I am neither my sense of I, the ahankara. I am neither the intellect, so chittani, and then he uses the word chitta or chittani. Chittani naham. Here he's saying, I'm also not my bag of memories, because each one of us has a bag of memories. Now, that defines us. Sometimes our mind may be thinking something, like it may be getting some fresh ideas. Right now, you are receiving fresh ideas of your true being. And some of you, your intellect has been with me for many years, so it also has some ideas that are already now being firmly located. But then some memories may come up to interrupt that process, etc. And as a result, we are very much the product of our memories. But in one statement, Shankara, that prodigy child, negates all of this because Shankara's age does not matter here, right? So Shankara says, Manobud ahankara chittani naham. Try saying this. Mano buddha ahankara chittani naham. So you understand mind, buddha, buddhi, ahankara, and chitta. Now, the traditional way to, the ordinary way to expound upon it is to tell you this meaning. The way, the deeper way of understanding this now is to pause here and close your eyes and let me lead you through a brief experience of this. These words that are coming to you, there are some, you may be sitting in a hot or cold room, a drafty room, or a suffocatingly warm room. There may be light in your room or less light. These are all the stimuli that is coming upon your mind. And you imagine, you continue to, more than imagine, you continue to withdraw from these stimuli to say, well, none of this determines my reality. You may be experiencing aches and pains. You may be experiencing discomfort in your upper back, lower back, middle back. You may be experiencing some hunger or thirst. But what if you withdraw from it and come to this recognition that I am not that? So there is obviously an observer part of you that is observing that you are not that. I am the observer. And then this sense of I'm sitting in a man's body, a woman's body, a blended gender body. I'm sitting in a young body, middle-aged body, old-age body, mature body. This sense of ideas around who you are. I'm culturally so-and-so. I'm racially so-and-so. If you slowly just see through, all of it feels pretty light. None of it really is clutching to you. You are clutching to it, but none of that really holds in the light of the observer. And then, so there is no, that ego is melting away right now. It's dissolving. And so is any memories. If there are any memories that are showing up, then just simply observe that and say, you know, those memories are just there. They're just scattered like clouds in the sky, but the sky is always clear. You are that clear sky, not those memories. So I'm not that. So you've gone through a negation exercise of this, the information in the mind, the sense of I, the sense of intellect or ideas about your journey and your memories. And probably through this exercise, you have also confirmed that Shankara's process of negation is probably holding firm ground in the reality of experience. This is not simply somebody being verbose, but probably it is an inkling to the truth. We've still not gone to who are you, but this is definitely clear that this is not you, and or probably there is an inkling of clarity. It takes a little while, but prima facie evidence supports that probably you are not the mind, not the intellect, not the ego, and not the bundle of memories, but the observer of all of that. Wonderful. So as you've negated these things, you become lighter. So I'd like you to open your eyes, and you can now see that you use all of this to operate, but you are not that. So we shall continue. The next line is Nacha kshotra jivhe, nacha ghan netre. So now look at the meanings of the word is that from Shruti, that Shravanam, that the Shra sound is the root sound, and Shrotra means the ears. Okay. And so we're not talking about the physical ear, though we could be, but we're talking about the faculty of hearing and the input that's coming in through that. So there is that which Shankara wants to negate, that I am not this. Jivha represents the tongue and the input of taste. Jivha, so I am not that, right? And Nacha Grana Netre. Grana here represents the sense of smell or nose. Okay. Nacha Kshotra Jivhe, Nacha Grana Netre. And netra here represents eyesight or vision. So again, in one poetic declaration, we are going from the inside out. So the most inside was mana, buddhi, ahankar, and chitta or smriti. So mind, ego, intellect, and memory faculty, which is our very inner sense of being. And he negated it. And we went through that exercise. You can imagine that sounds are coming in. At this point, it's my sound, which changes you probably for the better. However, in this exercise, we're not looking at good or bad. We're looking at what am I and what am I not. So we are so connected with our sense of hearing. For those of it works, or for our sense of smell, for our sense of visual stimuli, and we are constantly being bombarded with billions of bits and bytes of stimuli through these sense organs. And what Shankara is saying is that yes, all that is coming in. And by the way, in this is implied nacha kshotra jivhe, nacha grana netre, by saying nacha, so also including the sense of touch, that all the stimuli that's coming in and this intelligent faculties that are constantly processing, this is not me. So now if you, again, close your eyes and become impervious to the sensations and become subtle when you watch your skin or the sense of smell or the sense of hearing, and you can allow my voice to come in, but you can feel the observer within you, the separation from all of this. You can experience internally how your tongue is moist and wet and ready to taste, Right now it's tasting nothingness. Even that's a taste. But you withdraw from it and you realize that you are the observer of all of this. So there is a denial of the senses, a negation of them. In the next line, now we're going the building blocks of these senses which are embedded in the body is the 5 elements. And in Ayurveda, in yoga, in Vedanta, we keep saying, oh, you're made up of the 5 elements. But at this metaphysical, mystical level, where we are going to discover who we truly are, the journey is of seeing through and setting aside. So Vyoma here means ether, space. Bhumi here means Prithvi or earth. Teja here means Agni or fire. Vayu here means air. And although water is not mentioned specifically, Apaha, we give this kind of poetic liberty, like some things are to be understood. This conversation is not happening with people we meet in the mall. This is a conversation happening with people who are part of a Vedic parampara of learning. And as a result, some fill in the blanks we can do because we understand the context. So what really is being said here is that I am neither the element of space, nor the element of earth, nor the element of fire, nor the element of wind. So there is a negation of the 5 elements. To experience it, if you close your eyes, then there are all these empty spaces within you, such as the space through which air is moving in and out. And often we like that element. It helps us feel better. But right now, if you even observe that, because even that's a state of being, and anything that is of structure within you, your muscles, your tendons, your bones, if you go even beyond that, and the warmth in your stomach, the warmth in your skin, the fire in your eyes, everything. If you just negate that, it doesn't mean it's bad or good. Remember, we're not talking about good or bad. We're talking about the isness. Are you that or do you have that? There's a difference. So then you realize that you are that intelligent observer. And the wind, all the things moving within you, maybe urine, maybe the urge to stool, maybe the breath, inhalation, expiration. It's just all happening there. It's just you're just observing that. So you've gone through 3 levels of negation now. Welcome back. You're not the mind, not the buddhi, not the intellect, not the ahankara, and not the chitta or the bundle of memories. You are not the ears, you're not the tongue, you're not the sense of touch, you're not the sense of smell, you're not the sense of taste, you're not the 5 elements. Then who are you? Chidanandarupam Shivoham Shivoham. Chant that. Chidananda Rupam Shivoham Shivoham. Yeah. So while the exercise of negation takes some time, the real bulk of teaching happens when we go into what does this phrase Chidananda Rupam Shivoham Shivoham mean? This is the crux of the teachings of Advaita Vedanta. This is what the Upanishads have been chorusing, and this takes study with a qualified teacher, experience, and then reconfirmation within you. Understanding Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham intellectually, as in when you understand about it, is good, but it should then filter through from the surface mind, manaha, into the buddhi, intellect. It should stay there, and then you should experience it so that it also becomes your memory, and it also becomes your ahankara. You have a new identity then. So all four aspects of your being become what? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So I will go into this teaching at the conclusion of all the negation. But this much I will say that this is the fruit of this entire exercise, is to understand then that who am I not. But to be able to do that, this work that you're doing in negation is going to be very helpful, because what remains within you may have felt blissful. And may I see some hands if you experience bliss after negation? Yeah. And if that blissful is like a content, I can't explain it. It's a profound okayness, a profound wholeness. And there would have been some content-free awareness, just pure awareness, not awareness plus cup, awareness plus glasses, only awareness. You might have noticed that, right? And you might have experienced some presence, like some sense of beingness. So for now, we'll just work with those examples. The presence we can call Shiva. The awareness we can call Chitta. Chit, not Chitta, but Chit or Chaitanyam. And the word for Chaitanyam in English is, how to write it is, Chaitanyam is awareness. Okay, and I'm just sending it to you, Chaitanyam. Then Ananda would be bliss, and Shiva would be presence. For now, we'll just work with this. And okay. So these are the three words that Shiva is saying, that Shankara is saying, I am. For Chaitanyam, it becomes Chida, right? Chida plus Anand is Chaitanyam plus Anand. and I am Shiva. That's what he's saying. I'm awareness, bliss, presence. And you must have experienced through the act of negation profound awareness that becomes purified of all the contents that it was carrying, a blissful state, and some sense of presence, like there is something here. You can't, you know it's not this, but there is something. It's not empty. There's a presence there. So I'll take your feedback if you experienced it. So let us see. Write me a yes if you experienced an awareness, a profound, and that awareness became even more clear, light, acute, because it was minus all the awareness plus ego, awareness plus memories, awareness plus, everything else. So let me know. Yeah. Yes, I'm aware that I'm aware, Arya says. Yes. Wonderful. So we see some yes. Okay. Now, respond to me if this awareness, it's not like separate, but this awareness felt blissful. And we've not understood what's bliss yet, but it definitely felt positive. It definitely felt uplifting. Please write to me if you did. Okay, somebody felt some emotional pain. That's okay. That happens in the beginning. Okay. Now, think about it. As you did the negation, you would think that now I'm just becoming completely without anything. Gosh, I took out this, I took out this, I took out this, then what is there? But there was another presence which was blissful and aware. Did you feel that? Yes or no? So that presence we are calling as Shiva. Okay. So this much we will feel because we will build then on this concept. Okay, wonderful. Let us chant again. Now you know the meanings of each word. So we are going to chant again. Om. So I will chant one line, you will chant one. Mano buddha hankar chittani naham na chakshotra jivhe na cha न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमे न तेजो न वायु चिदानन्दरूपम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्दरूपम् शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम्. Beautiful. The purpose of denial is not to throw these things out of the window. but to understand how they are adhyaropanas, or what I had mentioned in the former class. These are the layers upon which the truth of the self is, under which the truth of the self is present, not absent, present. So somebody wrote how they felt emptiness. Yes. But did you, in that emptiness, experience a potent empty presence? That is the interesting thing. Can you tell me? Yes or no? Yes. So the Buddhist, they go down a similar path, but then they say that's emptiness. Whereas we, which is the older tradition, say, yes, it's empty of these things, but there the fullness or the presence of bliss and awareness is acute. So we are not an empty tradition. We are a presence tradition. So my name, Shunya, in Buddhism would mean emptiness. But my name, because it means empty. But my name in the Upanishadic tradition means empty of Mano Buddha Hankara Chittaninaham. So right now my name Shunya means Chidananda Rupam Shivoham Shivoham. So it is the emptiness of all those things, not emptiness of the original presence, original awareness, original bliss, which is not material. Hence it appears empty. Do you see that we are these two different traditions? So I wanted you to understand that our emptiness is not absolute emptiness. Our emptiness has presence, which appears empty in the material containers of words and descriptions. And this creates taxonomical difficulties in Buddhism. For example, when they say that karma continues after birth, but they don't know what continues because everything is empty. So then they don't know how karma attaches to what. So then all these categorical problems occur down the road. Whereas if you go into the older tradition, it's like, yes, let me discover that empty like presence. And let me become empty of these adjuncts. That's the English word, I think, adjuncts. So what is man, buddh, ahankar? Adjuncts on top of this profound empty presence within. Okay, so that's good. We clarified that. And the first verse is now sitting with you. It is not just words in my tradition, in my way of teaching, in my way of looking at them. It's work. It's work for me. It is a challenge for me to undo the zipper and drop this for a few moments every day. And so every day you want to be in that state where you unzip and you let go and you become pure presence, pure awareness, and pure bliss. And that bliss is not something that will make you laugh out loud or anything. It's not entertainment bliss, but it's the bliss of non-suffocation or um, uh, or non-adjuncts. I don't want to use negative terms, so excuse me, I'm going to come back. I don't want to say necessarily that the presence of intellect, ego is suffocation. I don't want to go there. I'm not talking about samsara, so I have to come back and talk in scientific terms with you. So this is Prakriti. Prakriti is a Sanskrit word which means, so I'm going to write it, Prakriti, and and the other word is Purusha. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to give you okay. So we are all a mix of Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti defines our structure function, and Purusha is presence, being, or spirit. It can also be called Atma. Purusha is also called Atma. The crux of the issue is that we are identified with the Prakriti. And that's okay. Because when we take a human form, we've come here to fulfill the four goals: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And I believe all of you know what that is. Dharma, moksha, you know, artha is taking care of basic things, and kama is a lot of pleasure. We've come here for these four goals, and Prakriti helps us do that. The issue happens when Purusha becomes lost inside Prakriti. So fused that there is no sense of being. And Nirvana Shatakam can allow us to experience a sense of being. When we come into understanding the true being, known as Brahman, we will realize that Prakriti is not something cheap or unwanted, it's divine. Even your body, your intellect, look at it, how brilliant everything is. It's divine. So the only purpose of our exercise through Nirvana Shatakam is to have some degree of separation, cognitive, between your Prakriti and your true being, which is Purusha. Is that helpful? Because then you can go about using your Prakriti for your goals. Occasionally resting the Prakriti, occasionally, feeding the Prakriti, but it need not be that you are only that. Because true bliss resides in Purusha. Chitta means Chaitanyam, the cosmic intelligence resides in Purusha. When we come into Chidanand Rupa Shivoham Shoham, you will realize that everything that your Prakriti has is being borrowed from Purusha. Everything. And we are living on a drip system. Drip, drip, drip. But if we can become more familiar with our true essence, then that would be the purpose of our exercise. Right now, this shows duality, but we have yet to proceed towards non-duality, but we can begin here. Yes? Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop here, and I can take any questions, or you can share with me. Gee, that would be good if you shared with me your experience of negation and how that felt. You may not have the accurate words for it, that's okay, but you can touch upon them briefly. Yeah. Would anybody like to go? Jayanti?
Shema. I would describe the awareness as like a pregnant emptiness, kind of like waiting. Not waiting is the wrong word. I can't describe that. And the presence is that awareness is also full of something.
Yeah.
And the bliss, when we were doing the negation exercise, I felt more like just like that wholeness. It wasn't really an experience of what I think of as bliss. But when we chanted together, I suddenly had this burst, like from my hidram, of an experience of bliss, and it brought tears to my eyes. And I just wondered what that was about.
It's too early to give you any answers. I think we're just exploring the inner dimension. So it doesn't matter, and you're right. Bliss we will find out that bliss has some radical connection with wholeness. In fact, we are whole, and because we are living very divisive, separate existences is why our bliss is punctured. So our return to presence is our return to wholeness. Wonderful. Good job. Good job at observing. Yeah. Vimila?
I had a lovely feeling of well-being, and this I don't want a concept, idea, I don't know, this energy, something came and my mind wanted to label it like frequency. Should I be careful of letting my mind call it something like, like attaching to?
And mind's going to do its thing, right? It's not a bad thing or a good thing, but you can observe and say, interesting, mind is doing its own thing. And you can come back to the original. So it's not like we have to police the mind, but we have to notice that it's good job. Whatever you noticed, you can call it frequency and you can call it disco. Doesn't matter. We are heading into a place that cannot be described by words, probably. That is why we are very grateful to the Upanishads for giving us words like, Ananda or Chaitanyam. These are not ordinary language words. And then these words will become your, probably what you experienced was one of those things, Satchitananda. We just don't have the vocabulary for it. But your experience is your experience. And I may point out, Vimla, that usually in our routine world, we feel good after gaining something. And here we are allowing to lay to rest that I'm not this, I'm not this. And yet we are experiencing more wholeness, a more positive frequency. We are being moved to tears. What's going on here? That's something to contemplate. That probably what the ancients have been saying profoundly, that the truth and the whole universe lies within you. And even if you approach it through one verse inwards, you don't get a bad feeling. Sometimes we approach someone we think we love and we walk down the aisle with them even and we experience, oh dear, doesn't that happen to us? Everywhere we go out there is something, but in here, the more important thing beyond words is how you experience that, right? So I'm not here to say, don't experience it this way, don't experience it. It's very early, but at least can we all acknowledge that there was something there, check, right? Whatever you want to call it, there was a presence. And it was aware, as in it was very intelligent. Yes, it was not a sleeping presence, it was an intelligent presence. There seemed to be some profound wisdom there. Yeah. And thirdly, so there was presence, there was intelligence, and there was bliss. You would say that. Yes? Okay. Good. Names? For now, we'll just grope with whatever we can. Wonderful. We have room for one more share, and then I would like to give you your contemplation work for the week. Well done. Well done, all of you. Marnella?
I wrote it in the chat, but I'll just read it. My experience of negation was initially I felt a little bit of resistance, like almost fear of letting go and going into that place. And a little bit of, I labeled it emotional pain, but it feels like something is stirring up, like something is, I don't even know how to describe it. And it did trigger some tears. Like I know it's there, and perhaps I'm unable to access it right now. And while I was trying, there was this, I don't know if it was resistance. It's so hard to describe that feeling. But at the same time, I don't know if remembrance is an English word, so I apologize, but there was some kind of remembering something that I am and now negating what I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, it's, negation is counterintuitive to the way we function. And as a result, because you are new to this teaching also, not you're an old soul, but new to this exercise, what happens is that to the degree to which the sense of I is ready to negate or not, but keep observing it. All this is very scientific and uninteresting. It's not the permanent, marker. And as you proceed through the remaining 5 verses, it would be interesting to see if the resistance builds or reduces. Yeah. So it's all welcome, because in Vedanta, we observe. So when tears come up or joy come up, you can observe. But the kind of joy I'm talking about, which happened after negation, is what was left. Do you see the difference? It is what was left. So what, Marinella, you felt was what was left. So probably you were touching something that is originally existing there that you cannot remove. You cannot remove that sense of presence. You cannot remove that sense of holistic wholeness. You cannot remove that some sense of pleasure, even though your mind felt resistant. So there is something there which is getting very interesting, right? So, all right. So the way to work with this is an invitation, is to sit with this one verse, the one that has been opened for you. We call it the activation of the verse through Shruti. And you read each word. I think you'll have to do 2 levels of work here. One is to get familiar with the Sanskrit, so that when you read Mano, Buddha, Ankar, you know what we are talking. How is that, right? Because you have to know, and you have to really think it through, that, oh, when I'm reading this first line, we are talking about my frontal lobe. You'll have to really get familiar with that. So that's some additional work you have to do. But you can also read it in English. So concomitantly make sure that you're very familiar with it. After all, English is my second language, but now I've become familiar with it. Do you see that? But if you catch me in my dream, it's not my first language. I will be probably speaking Hindi. Right? That's my first language. So It takes some effort to become a little comfortable, but these are scientific words that you will meet again and again. So it's almost like learning a new way of understanding. But in the beginning, until you are aware of it, keep reading English, Sanskrit, English, Sanskrit. More than knowing the word, I will never quiz you on Sanskrit. That's not the point. More than the Sanskrit, it's the message. Is that when you hear the word Mano Buddh Ahankara Chittani Naham, when you hear that first line, does it turn on bulbs within you to say, wait, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not that? Does it allow you to temporarily shed in your mind? That's what it means. Okay. So if you want this verse to have power, the way it has a power for me, you have to become comfortable, or you can write it side by side in English so you know exactly. Okay, so that's one thing. That's one work you have to do. Secondly, you may want to do this one exercise, watch this video once more if you want to. And then every time I suggest for you to close your eyes, do it again. You know? And then if I were you, when I learned about Adhyaropan or adjuncts, underneath which is this presence, and I could experience it, it kind of became like a drug for me to set aside and experience that. So if you tried to do that on your kitchen table, or you took a walk and you sat somewhere under a tree and did that. And so when we negate, we also negate all the pleasant experiences that are coming, right? Because you want to go deep into what is left behind. And I haven't really explained to you that too much, but we agreed there is some kind of presence which is positive in its impact. We're calling it blissful. So some version of bliss, content, pleasing, holistic, nurturing, something. And it's very aware, it's very intelligent. Awareness and intelligent are concomitant facts. Cannot be aware without intelligence. You cannot be intelligent without being aware. So they are together. So these are some ways that you can work with the knowledge. The last way is to simply listen to this and then kind of let it seep into you. But the Prakriti part will be so busy that it may not make an impact on you. So you have to make room for trying to discover the Purusha. It's up to you. How deep you want to go is up to you. Okay. Any final questions? Oh yeah, any questions? Okay. See you next week. Jai Ma.